Today on Isle of Games, we are going to be looking at how to create a character in Roll20 using the resources of 5e Tools, a free online resource to go along with Roll20. Now, on Roll20, with characters, when you load in, as we already have, you'll be presented with a map, usually a blank one. We've got a little background here just to give you some color. And to find characters, what you're going to want to do is you want to go to the right-hand side of your screen and look for this little newspaper-looking icon and click on it. As you can see, we are already there. And what I usually do is I will have a folder for characters and for current characters, and you'll be able to see a little character like these two right here, Esker and Fasuke. We will be working with Esker today. We will be creating from scratch a Goliath fighter folk hero in D&D 5e. That's the system that we'll be using. So first thing you're going to want to do is you want to left click on your character, Esker. You're going to bring up this bio and info page. This is just going to be blank. It's completely empty because there is nothing here because we don't have a character yet. Then we're going to click on character sheet, and you're going to want to select the option edit sheet directly. This is going to bring up the complete D&D 5e character sheet. I guess it's called. A little rambling there. And you're going to want to do, one of the first things you want to do is you want to choose your class. So you're going to click here. It's a drop down arrow. There's only a few of them in here. This is the only one you really got to worry about. And so we want to be a fighter. So we're going to click on the word fighter. And what that's going to do is it's going to do a couple of things for us. First of all, since our level is currently set at level 1, it's going to set our proficiency bonus to 2, which is the level 1 proficiency bonus. It's going to give us our 2 points of proficiency bonus to strength and constitution, as is granted by the fighter class. And it is going to give us a total of 1 hit die. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to click right here and manually type in 1 to give us the corresponding 1 hit die that has been yet to be expended by us during our travels, adventures as this character. Up here you see the total hit die, and down here you see the hit die that you have yet to expend. So like we could tick this down and it would become 0. Bring it back up to 1 because this character obviously hasn't spent any time in the field. And that's just about all it does. Clicking the class, everything else that you would get, equipment, stats, proficiencies, all that we're going to add manually as this character progresses. Before we do that, however, I do like to look at the race first. When we do this, we're going to scroll all the way down here to this features and traits section. That's going to be a bit important. And then we're going to click over to 5e Tools. This is 5e Tools. I'm using the mirror version of 5e Tools because it is about as accurate as the main 5e Tools site, but has less ads. And I really don't like putting banner ads in any of my videos, so I do use the mirror version for this. What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to click on races, or in this case we're going to right click a new tab, which we have already done, and races links up to this page, which has a list of all of the races available to you for D&D 5e on Roll20. Now you can see we are a Goliath. We are medium sized. Our speed is 30 feet. We have a +2 to strength and a +1 to constitution. That will come back later when we get our stats. I just want to put the race in first. You can do things whatever order you like. It's just I felt this should be done first. So first thing is we're going to notice that we get natural athlete after age and size, which is just guidance for how big you should make your character. We're going to highlight that. We're going to copy it. Then we're going to come over here to features and traits. We're going to click the little plus button. Not the little unlock button. The unlock button allows you to delete things after you put them in. So we're going to control paste. We're going to type in natural athlete, I believe it was. It is a racial ability, not a class, a feat, or a background ability. So we're going to leave that as it is. And we're going to type Goliath in the sort type because that is what we are. We are a Goliath. So there we have natural athlete, and back and forth just a little bit to confirm we took from here to here. We will then click on this little gearbox, and that makes it sort of disappear from the box, makes it appear all nice. And you can do a couple of things here. You can click on the name to hide the text or to reveal the text, depending on how you feel. You can also click on this little speech bubble at any time, and what that will do is that will put it in the Roll20 chat. So if you click on the little speech bubble, you can see this little blue blurb just lit up, and it is telling us that I, the GM, have rolled a natural athlete, or I am displaying the natural athlete ability. It's a pretty handy thing if you ever need to justify why you're doing something at any time. Now it says we have proficiency in the athletic skill. So we're going to come over to athletics. We're going to give ourselves proficiency by clicking on these little boxes right here. And that is how we give ourselves proficiency in Roll20. It's pretty similar to the paper version where you pencil in the little box and then you write the new number. Now you notice we haven't put in any stats or anything. We're going to do that after I sort of go through the race and the background and class. I'm going to get everything set up for that, and then I'm going to give him the stats. A lot of people like to put stats first. I completely understand. So the next thing here is Stone's Endurance. This is an ability that comes in later and involves a roll of a D12. So we're going to be looking at how to program things in just a second with Stone's Endurance. And because I forgot to earlier, I will add that our speed is 30 by virtue of the Goliath speed being 30 feet. Now, I'm going to go down here. We're going to add in Stone's Endurance, Control Copy, Control Paste, type in the name. It's still racial. It is still from the Goliath. Now, Stone's Endurance says that when we take damage, we can use our reaction to roll a d12 plus our constitution and reduce the damage by that total. We can use it once per short and long rest. So we're going to have two things we're going to do with this. Number one, we're going to go up to Class Resource. We're going to left click on the name Class Resource. It's a little gimmicky in how to get to it, but just click a couple times, you'll usually have it. We're going to type in Stone's Endurance, assuming, of course, I can spell. And we get this once per short or long rest, so we're going to put a 1 in here out of a total of 1. Just left click and type the 1 in. And that's going to tell us how many Stone's Endurances we get every long rest, and that is going to tell us how many we have yet to use. So if we were to use it, we take this down to 0, and then we take it back up to 1 when we get it back after a short or long rest. Now the other thing that this brings into play that is important for making a character is over here in the attacks and spell casting. This is where all your shorthand for dice rolls are going to be. So we're going to add a new attack or spell casting here. In this case, it is the Stone's Endurance, so that we can have that nice shorthand available at any time. We don't have to worry about any other ways of doing it. What we're going to do here is, because it's not an attack, we're going to turn off the attack modifier. We're going to click it off, so when we roll this, there will no longer be an attack. And the damage, in this case, or the reduction in damage, is 1d12. We just click and type that in right here on damage, plus Constitution. And we can type here, because it is a damage reduction, so we can type in here, just reduction. And what that's going to do is when we click this little gearbox and it goes away, we have this lovely little bar that highlights red. We will click on Stone's Endurance, and it will tell us in the roll here that we rolled a total of 2 plus nothing, because our Constitution modifier doesn't exist yet, to reduce the damage we took with Stone's Endurance. It's just, you just left click on it when it highlights red, and it rolls right here. Very nice, very easy to use. All right, so that's Stone's Endurance done. That's that little thing done. We're going to just sort of run through the rest of these things here. You get Powerful Build, which lets you count as one size larger when determining your carrying capacity. And the reason we are, of course, putting all these things in here is so that at any point, if we want to remember why we think we can do something, all of our abilities are just one lovely little mouse click away from us. Finally, we have Mountain Born, which lets us resist cold damage and be acclimated to high altitudes, which is very useful. Resistance to damage is great in this game. So we have Mountain Born, it's a race, it's Goliath. Now, you'll notice that the last thing on this list, like age and size, I am not going to do the copy paste to put it in because the last thing is languages. We can speak, read, and write Common and Giant. So what instead we are going to do is we are going to click on this lovely little I information button over here. We're going to left click on it. It's the compendium. We're going to type in the languages we want to speak. So we're going to type in Common. And what should come up is a proficiency that says Common. This is for being proficient in the language of Common. We're going to click, left click, and drag. This little thing will pop up that says Accepting Drop from the Compendium. We will release it, and down here in Other Proficiencies and Languages, we will have proficiency in the language of Common. We will now do the same thing for Giant. You'll notice that other things come up based on the letters you have typed in, like we could summon a Cloud Giant from the compendium if we really wanted to. We don't. Those things are painful to deal with. So there we go. We now speak Common and we speak Giant. And that is our race, with the exception of the ability score improvements, which we will go over after we sort of generated everything else for our character. So next up, we are going to go back to this home page, and we're going to go look at our backgrounds, which is right here. You get it the same way as you get the races. You just click on it, and it will appear. Or if you want to preserve this page as a home page to go back to, you can right-click and open the link in New Tab, and it will bring up the backgrounds. Now for backgrounds, all the way over here, we have suggested all the way down here the folk hero background for this character. And first things first, we get proficiencies in animal handling and survival. So we are going to go back up to our skills list. We're going to add proficiency in animal handling. We're going to add proficiency in survival. Then we are going to go back to the folk hero. We're going to see that we get some tool proficiencies with this background. Now, tool proficiencies are different than language proficiencies. Language proficiencies let you speak things. Tools proficiencies let you use certain things. So first on the list here, we're going to do land vehicles. This is the ability to drive all vehicles on land. So we're going to add the land vehicle proficiency. And you'll notice that that will appear in tool proficiencies and custom skills with the query attribute next to it. Now to use this, all you're going to do is you're going to left click on it, and it's going to ask you, what attribute are you using? Are you using your strength to maintain control of the vehicle at any time? Are you using your intelligence to discern what sort of vehicles you are looking at right now? Are you using your wisdom to track a vehicle? You know, just whatever skill you are using, it will query the attribute for it. We're going to cancel this. We don't need to roll that. You just select the attribute and you let it roll. Excuse me. The other thing is Artisan's Tools. Now, Artisan's Tools is a collection of various types of tools that are available. So we're going to type in the word tools here, and we're going to see a bunch of them pop up. You can see here we have rules on tools. We have all the items that would be associated with the different tools. And then we have the proficiencies, which is what we want right now. So because we are looking at proficiencies, I'm going to say, you know what, he's a Goliath. Goliaths are they're mountain people. They're big, hardy, tough guys. So I'm going to say he knows how to deal with stone. So he's got Mason's tools. We left click and drag it over from the compendium, same as we've always been doing. And Mason's tools will appear again with the query action in tool proficiencies and custom skills, because you may be using a different skill with this proficiency depending on what you are using it for. Now you'll see that the folk hero also gets the set of arson's tools that we chose previously in the tool proficiency. So we'll just go up to Mason's tools here under items, and we will left click and drag, and that will appear in items. To continue down this line, we have a shovel, an iron pot, a set of common clothes, and a pouch containing 10 gold. So we're going to start putting those in. And so we're going to go over here, we're going to go look for the 5e tools shovel. And it's an item, so we drop it in. And we will do the same thing with, what else was there? An iron pot and a set of common clothes. So let's type in the pot. Got an iron pot. Got common clothes coming up. And for our pouch of 10 gold, we will type in under the gold piece button here. The pieces are, of course, copper pieces, silver pieces, the pieces that no one ever deals with, and I will not speak their name here. Gold pieces and platinum pieces. So we get 10 gold. So we type in 10 gold, and that's our pouch with 10 gold right there. Now, we then come to the last part here of what I will be doing for this, which is the feature of rustic hospitality, which is a little thing you can use in game to say we're among common people, and I blend in, and they should probably help me because they know I am a champion of comic people. Common people, not comic people. I cannot speak English. I apologize. So we're going to go over here. We're going to type in rustic hospitality. And we're going to click on racial. And we're going to go down to background because this comes from our background. And what is our background? Why, it is folk hero. And we will left click off of that, and that is now done. And so now we have taken care of our race and our background for the most part. So we will then, of course, I'll scroll up here actually because I did forget to do one important thing, and that is in race. Be sure to type in what your race is. It's usually better to just type it in than to try and drag and drop a race over from the compendium in my experience. I like having more control over what appears on the sheet and when. If you want to try and drag something over from the compendium as a race, you are more than welcome to do that on your own initiative. And then what we want to do is, because as a level 1 fighter we're not going to get a subclass, and Goliaths don't really have sub-races to type in here, what we will do is we're going to click on the little settings gear, and we're going to just click on it, and that's going to change the view here to include our class and level, our race, our alignment, and our background. This is where we go up here, we left click, and we type in our background as folk hero. That way anyone on our character sheet can see right away, oh hey, we're a folk hero. That's right, that's what we're doing. And we can give any alignment we want. I'm going to say since they're a folk hero, they're probably used to standing up to the law and doing good, so I'm going to say that this is probably a neutral good character, since they help people but are not bound to the law given what they do. And there is our alignment. Works on the same principles of everything else we've done so far. And we're just going to scroll down here to the skills and equipment section, because that's going to start coming up a lot here as we go to the fighter. So to start with the fighter on 5e tools, I should stop back over here. It's just right here under the classes. You go into classes, you see this list of classes, you click on the one you want. We want fighter. We're already on the fighter page. You can see here there's a list of subclasses you can click on. Fighters do not get subclasses until 3rd level with martial archetype as shown on this chart. So we will not be dealing with that during this video. That will be for a later video. First thing we are going to want to do is we're going to come over here to proficiencies and then starting equipment, and we are going to make all the decisions now. So proficiencies, we have proficiencies in all kinds of armor and shields, as well as both simple and martial weapons. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back over here, and we are going to type in armor, and we're just going to scroll down so you can see it come in real time as it is searching. It does take a minute. We're just going to click these little plus and minus icons to sort of speed our way to the proficiencies. We're proficient in light, we're proficient in medium, we are proficient in heavy. We'll then do the same thing for shields. And you can see they're all appearing down here in the other proficiencies and languages. And as you can see, this box is expanding to accommodate any amount of space that we need. There's no need to worry about running out of space here. Then finally we need martial and simple weapons. Martial weapons and simple weapons. And that rounds out our proficiencies for the moment, or at least our tool proficiencies. We then get to choose 2 skills. Our saving throws already have their proficiencies thanks to the automation of Roll20. So we get to choose 2 skills here for our character. I think I will take Insight and Intimidation. Be big, be scary, be strong. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to click on Insight. I'm going to click on Intimidation. I'm going to get those skills going nicely. With that, we then come down to the fighter's equipment. I'm going to give him Chainmail, a martial weapon, and a shield. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here, we're going to type in Chainmail, and we're going to drop the Chainmail in. You can see it has appeared here in our tools, but it has also done something to our armor class. It has set that armor class to 16. Before that was just sitting there at a blank screen because we didn't really have one, because we didn't have any armor or any modifiers to indicate what our armor class was supposed to be. We'll go back over here. Chainmail. I need a martial weapon and a shield. So we're going to start off, we're going to get that shield. And watch what happens again. We drag and drop the shield in. It appears in our equipment. And our armor class goes up to 18. Now, I'm going to want a martial weapon, so I think I'm going to give him a greatsword as a barbarian fighter. So we're going to drag and drop greatsword. You can see this time greatsword appeared in our inventory, and greatsword appeared in our attacks and spellcasting section where we can roll dice on shorthand. Does the 2d6 slashing, has +2 to hit right now because we don't have any strength modifier, and our proficiency bonus is 2. That will all change at the end of this. Alright, so then finally we're going to get the crossbow and 20 bolts and a Dungeoneer's pack. So let's get the crossbow. And what type of crossbow was it? I do always forget. It is a light crossbow, of course. Just we're going to drop the light crossbow in. And you see we've got a light crossbow, no dexterity, 1d8 piercing, all that just right there for the clicking. And then something interesting should happen when we get the, no, not 20 bolts, we're going to get bolts. So now we're going to go to crossbow bolts. I'm going to drag and drop that in. Now you notice that we've only been given 1. We get 20. So in order to increase the number of something that we get, we're going to double click here to highlight the number, and then we're going to type in the new number that we want, and then just simply click off. And right there we now have 20 bolts. And you'll notice that over here in our class resources, a new class resource has been filled out for us. It is crossbow bolts. It has 20, and it is tied to the number of crossbow bolts in here, and we can adjust it up or down as we need to in order to account for how many times we fire our crossbow or how many more bolts that we buy from various merchants throughout the world. And finally, for the fighter, we're going to get our pack. So we're just going to type pack in, and we can just get up a straight up pack. So we're going to take the Dungeoneer's pack, just because we can, and that gets added to our equipment. You'll notice we have a total weight now of almost 100 pounds of equipment of everything we are carrying and or wearing. That is okay. We are not encumbered. We don't really have to worry about that. It's it all works out just fine. So now that we have everything set up in here, we now get to take, if we go back up, sorry, to the chart, we get a fighting style and we get second wind as our abilities at level 1 for a fighter. So for a fighter, we're going to choose a fighting style. It's one option that grants us a bonus of any kind. We will take great weapon fighting. You can select any of these options. The green options here are from Tasha's Cauldron, the expansion, and the ones in the sort of reddish brown are the options from the player handbook from when 5e originally came out. So we're going to take great weapon fighting. What we're going to do is we're going to go back down here. We're going to click to add. We're going to copy over the text. Then we're going to write in fighting style, great weapon fighting. This is a class ability, and it comes from our class being fighter level 1. So fighter 1 right there to indicate where we got this. And as you can see, you don't got to worry about being too lengthy in the titles of these things, as they will just continue to wrap around like a little paragraph of text if you so happen to go over the one line that is usually there, as we just did. My voice is starting to crack, I apologize. Finally, we come down here to Second Wind, which is the other level 1 ability we get for being a fighter. I'm going to go over here to Second Wind, copy it over like we always do, type it up. You get the procedure by now. I'm going to go to class. You can click on these, by the way, and just sort of hit tab and then go up and down on your keypad to change what you are looking at. Class, fighter, class, race, background, that sort of thing. So this is also a fighter 1 ability. And before we put this one away, you'll notice that we have a once per turn bonus action to regain hit points equal to 1d10 plus our fighter level. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a couple of things. Number one, we're going to go back up here to class resources. We're going to click this little plus sign to do the add button to get the resource of Second Wind. We will then say we have 1 second wind out of a total of 1 use of second wind, because that is how many second winds that we have right now per short or long rest. We will then go over here and then we will add our own second wind. So we regain hit points equal to 1d10 plus our fighter level. So we will type in the name Second Wind. We will remove the attack sign again, because this is not an attack, this is just an ability. We get 1d10 plus our fighter level, so we're going to do plus nothing, and we're going to set this to our fighter level manually, and every time we level up, we will simply change this from a 1 to a 2. We have a 1 right now because we are level 1. And this is going to be healing. This is 1d10 plus 1 healing. And with that, we are going to close this out. We have Second Wind again. Now, say I want Second Wind up with my other sort of damage reduction type ability. Well, I click on this little lock, and a couple of things change. The plus sign disappears. We can't add anything while everything is unlocked. We can also click on these little red boxes to delete any attack that we no longer need, or that is simply not working for us. Like, say, if we lost the Great Sword, we could click right here to delete the Great Sword because it's been destroyed. What we will do is we will click on these little lines over here, and we will move Second Wind up next to Stone's Endurance, because this lets us rearrange the order of the various objects that we are working with, and then we will click the lock button again to lock everything back in. We can add things again. The little destruction box over here is gone, and we are all sitting happy. And so we'll close off Second Wind. And that comes to the last part of creating a character, which is going to be getting our hit points and getting our stats. Now, to get to stats generators, you can do it however you want, or whatever you want. 5e Tools has their own way of doing it in particular. So over here, if we click on Player, this little drop down, there is a stat generator feature. It will take you to Stat Gen, which is currently open in a tab over here. What we have done is we have gone with the 4d6 minus 1 formula. We gave the 6 rolls. We have these random rolls right here for our Goliath that we did off screen just to set everything up for this video. We will then go to our race down here on this sort of race thing. We're going to click on down here. We're going to type in GOL. That's going to bring up the different types of Goliath that are available, whether you want to use the multiverse version or the Guide to Monsters version. We're just going to use the Guide to Monsters version because that was the version we had up earlier for the races. And so you can see we get a +2 to strength and our +1 to constitution, as our race did indicate, according to the Volo's Guide to Monster Goliath that we are using. We can then assign our various rolls to the stat gen just to sort of see how they work out, twink around with them. We want a good strong strength, maybe put this 15 over here in constitution so we get that +1, and sort of just fiddle around with, maybe he's got a low intelligence, but he's got, decent wisdom and, charisma and dexterity, like say this. So I think these are the stats we are going to be going with for the totals over here, which is what we'll be typing in to Roll20. You can see our basic stats that we rolled, our racial modifiers that we put in, and the totals that we get and how good we are on these things. So we're going to put in 18, 12, 16, 10, 14, 12. So we're going to go over here and go to this little blurb down here. That's our actual stat. This big blurb is our modifier. We're going to double click on it. We're going to type in 18. And voila, we have it. So this dexterity is 12. You notice that when we punched in dexterity, automatically our initiative moved from 0 to 1 because dexterity controls the initiative modifier, and our abilities in the saving throws have gone up with strength and dexterity now reflecting for strength the +4 plus the 2 points of proficiency bonus for a total of 6, dexterity getting the 1. The same can be seen on the skills and on the various objects that are affected in our attacks and spell casting. Greatsword now is a +6 to hit and +4 strength in its damage. The light crossbow has that +1 now. All good stuff. Our constitution now is going to go up to 16, and right here is where we are not going to see our hit points increase or appear in these blocks because some people roll for hit points, some people do averages. Because we are level 1, we don't have to worry about that. I personally do averages, for those of you who might be wondering. And so, because we are level 1, we are going to take 10 points from our hit die, that is a d10, plus the 3 from our constitution to have a hit point maximum of 13. And because we have taken no damage, our current hit points will also be 13. Just click and type them in. And we said our intelligence was 10, our wisdom was, I believe, 14, and our charisma was 12. You can see our wisdom has modified our passive perception down here, which is just always displayed for us so that we can always be aware of just how aware our characters are. And with that, we have completed our setup for a level 1 character. This is a fully functioning level 1 character for ready to play in any game of D&D 5th edition. You can add in any personal traits, ideals, bonds, flaws that you want, or you can just leave these blank. It doesn't really matter, but this is everything you need mechanically to have a functional character sheet. And so with that, we will be ending this video. Thank you for watching. This has been Isle of Games, and we do hope that you have, that you found this useful. Goodbye.